Here we are. Yeah, I didn't know that was a new feature.
Yeah, voice thing on Spotify. I didn't know. By the way, in relation to Elliot not wearing headphones when we had him on, I started watching our other podcasts for Philly and New York for Odyssey that use nobody's wearing headphones. It made me. I was watching our Knicks one the other day and with EJ and Tommy, and nobody was wearing headphones. It made me anxious.
Do you think it's like radio guys being comfortable with podcasting and thinking it's more casual?
I have no idea. It's so strange to me. Elliot just wouldn't think of it. Elliot is like the least technically efficient, the wrong word, but not surprised Elliot didn't know. Oh, fuck. Let's just start. Like fucking stupid filter in. Excuse me. The fucking Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS and brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. His cell number is 302-864-8643, as well as LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. On the show today, the Sixers season ends poorly, like it does every single year. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Boy, the We Were Right song really hits different tonight, doesn't it? Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is fully ruining Mother's Day at his mother-in-law's house. That is one Mike Levin.
Yeah.
You
know, I was okay. I didn't make any outbursts, so I guess that's a win.
That is
in this barricaded room back here. No, I mean, I've said this so many times.
Yeah.
They are just the most embarrassing group of people. They should all be embarrassed. Like they're losers. Embiid's a loser, Harden's a loser, Doc's a loser, everybody on the team, everybody associated with the team, Daryl's a loser. Like they all are losers. And this is what loser teams do, loser organizations do. They should have closed it out in 6. They didn't. And then they lay the biggest egg of all time in Boston in the Game 7 on Mother's Day that everybody was watching. And they should feel embarrassed. And honestly, Embiid should just like retire. Like it should just end right there. Just like one of the most embarrassing showings. It never looked like he gave a shit. He had like 3 rebounds, like midway through the third quarter. Just like Harden couldn't get by anybody. Just a joke. Just a total joke. Everyone should be like fully ashamed, and they shouldn't. If there's any, we're obviously not watching the press conferences afterwards, so we don't know what's going on. But if there's any like excuse making or anything other than like I feel like wholly embarrassed by our performance, then they should be like not allowed in the NBA anymore.
CJ, I don't know if you have Sixers Adam's phone number. If you do, if you could text him to let us know when he's done at the press conference, because I'd love to call him. We can call him using my cell phone number. So just text Adam. I agree with everything that you said. You know, coming into this game, I would not have all been surprised or disappointed if you had told me that James Harden would no-show the game. Like, I honestly, he has been here for a year, whatever it is, year and a half. He's no-showed in big games before. It just like, it sucks. And if it cost us the game, it would suck, but it wouldn't hurt, right? It wouldn't hurt at all. Man, to see Embiid in a game like this come out and compete the way that he did is soul crushing. Like it is. And I almost, when I think about who's listening to this podcast, because I know right now there are plenty of Boston people listening, there are Denver people listening and all that. And it does feel stupid to say these things with you listening. It feels stupid to have believed this entire time that when it comes down to it, in a game that means the entire season, might not win, but go out there and give every single ounce that you had. And I could understand the beginning of the game, I made an excuse. I'm like, he's tight. I could feel like he was going to be tight. I thought everybody was going to be tight. I was like, he's tight, whatever. And then I made another excuse. I was like, maybe he's going to play all 48 minutes. Maybe he's pacing himself. And he had a block or something. And then he had a couple of times where he brought the ball up and he laid the ball in. And I said, here is Embiid. But he did not meet the moment. He was not ready for it. He wanted no part of it. And you could survive that from any other single player on the roster, including Harden. You could survive it. And I could look past it. Can't look past it with Embiid. You cannot parade around, and we are guilty of supporting it for 3 years about how you're the MVP, and then come out in a game 7. And a game 7, I don't think we're being dramatic when we're saying that this particular game at this particular time is an inflection point. He has to know that. He has to know that everything, given Harden's contract, given the amount of time that the number of times they've been eliminated early, he has to know that this was it. And I do not want to hear anything about his knee, and I don't want to hear anything about shots not going down. You have to own every part of this. And what do you even do after this? And what do you even do after this? And how do you expect the other players on the team to come wanting to give, to dive for every ball, to push through when you're tired? Like, how can you expect for every other player on the team to do it if the best player on the team doesn't do it? Just absolutely embarrassing and disgraceful. And like, here's something. Here's a question I think we all have to ask ourselves, and we're all asking ourselves. And Michael Connor asked it in the thing that he wrote this week about this game. In October, how do we start a season looking at this guy and this team and take it seriously? How? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. I'm so like disappointed in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's over. It's over. Like, if Embiid asks for a trade, or if they trade him, or whoever's left in the front office, or like, they should just clean house after this. Like, everything should be over. It's just an embarrassing. It's happened too many times. They've lost. The Celtics have made the conference finals 5 times in 7 years. The Sixers have made it 0 times. They've lost in the second round every year except for the bubble, when they lost in the first.
Mike made the point that in the 10 years since we've started this, 19 teams have made the conference finals. 19 teams have made the conference finals.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels over. It just feels like just an indictment on everybody and everything. And so many mistakes were made over the years, but this is just like a game that they could have gone in there and won and taken seriously. And they just didn't. They just never did. They played slow. They played stupid. Shots weren't falling. And then they played weak. And then the Celtics got hot. And then they just like allowed open shot after open shot. And those guys hit shots. And just like they slumped their shoulders and they like put their head down. And they looked embarrassed. And then they took 75 threes and none of them went in. They were outscored 33-10 in the third. It's the largest gap in any quarter in any game 7 ever.
10 points seems like way more than they actually scored.
Well, they went 6 minutes between scoring at all. I wish Doc had taken everybody out way earlier, because it was really embarrassing to watch all the starters go out there and like sort of just wander around half-assing it. Yeah, I mean, it's with the Kawhi shot was shitty and a bad stroke of luck.
But
and
everything since
things
then
could have
they've
happened.
deserved, man.
And then the Hawks
Sorry.
game 7 was a different level of like torture, and something needed to change, and it felt like that was a real like Ben Simmons indictment. And this is just like, at a certain point, the Sixers don't have toughness, the Sixers don't have physicality, the Sixers like can't quite make that last play. The Sixers seem to no show on a lot of big stages in the playoffs. And at a certain point, there's no more people to blame. It's Joel Embiid. He did a terrible job. He played one of the worst games of his career tonight, in the most important game of his career. Just like, it's pathetic, man. Like, I feel so fucking stupid giving a shit. I don't feel nothing. Like, if these guys aren't going to give a fuck, then like, what am I doing? I have another career. I'm on strike. Like, I'm doing other stuff. And these guys are getting paid so much money to like really care, and they've worked their way up to do this stuff, and they're down $1 million. They're trying to fight back, and they're still giving up offensive rebounds to Marcus Smart. They're still getting out hustled by Marcus Smart up 25. Like, fuck them. Truly fuck them. Like, all these guys, like, we can get more specific, but like, effort wise was not there. Giving a shit wasn't there. No backbone, no integrity. Pathetic. All of them across the board. Pathetic.
We got a lot of voicemails, and I think it would be therapeutic and good to hear some of them CJ went through and got them ready for us. So 833 Lickface is the voicemail number. I'll just go through as we get them.
No, but seriously, I'm not a Sixers fan anymore. I've never felt this way. Even after the Hawks, I just said, okay, they'll trade Simmons, whatever. No, I'm not a fan of this team anymore. The GM is just like fucking pumping and dumping crypto. The 2-star players never, ever, ever show up in a big game. The owners are just out here buying other teams. It's just not, if none of them care, then why should I? I'm really like not watching games anymore. I've been a devoted listener. I'm sorry, I won't listen to you guys anymore. It's done.
You can stop with the team, but you could keep listening to us.
No,
good way to keep up on it. Your point about it, I think that the thing that we were feeling all going into this game, the thing that you said, and the thing that he has expressed in both a figurative and literal way, it sort of feels like they're out of moves, and you just said it about having somebody else to blame. The Raptors series was early in career. Kawhi was on a heater, blah, blah, blah. We had Ben Simmons for the Hawks series, and Embiid missed 2 games of the Heat series, and Harden disappeared. There's just, I don't even know what else you do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, certainly teams and players have come back from crushing disappointments over and over and over again. And there are several examples throughout the history of the NBA of teams that looked like they would never get over the hump and then finally do at times that you would never expect it. Dirk being one of those. It happens. It's so hard to imagine it happening here. It's just really hard to imagine, right? I can't paint the picture in which that happens here.
Yeah. I mean, I think about like the Virginia basketball team that lost. It was the first men's team to lose to a 16 seed. And then they won the national championship next year. And it's like, well, that's one game. Like, that was one game they were missing DeAndre Hunter, who broke his hand. Like, that's one game. This is half a decade more of just like continuing to no-show in these moments. And they've for the whole time. And you got to blame Embiid. Am I still there?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Alyssa's mom's computer just went to sleep, and am I dead? Am I alive anymore?
Wow, her mom's computer is just like that guy is checking out of the pod.
Good,
Your
smart, real smart. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying. They don't capitalize on stuff. I've called them like fuckboys for a long time because they just like act like they have it in hand, and they never do. Like they just act like, oh, we'll get it. Like we'll get them next one, or like, oh, okay, we got off to a slow start, but like we'll bounce back. Like they carry themselves with a lackadaisical nonchalance that they just have never earned. They've never, ever, ever earned it. And they continue proving time and again that they don't deserve our trust and they don't deserve the reputation they seem to think that they have, which is they're so talented that they can just like turn it on when it counts. And they can't. And they can't. Like, there's no one to blame here. Like, I thought Doc was extremely mediocre. I thought Harden was horrendous. I thought Embiid was horrendous. I thought Maxey was limited. I thought Tobias had such a bad game 6 that even though he wasn't the problem. No, I mean, none of the real role players were the problem in this game where you can go like, if only they did it. I mean, like they were missing shots. They shot 21% from 3.
Honestly, the role players are the only reason that the game was within 3 points or whatever at halftime.
I mean, Embiid and Harden played horrendously in the first half. And after the first play of the second half, which is an Embiid post-up kick out to Tobias for a 3 that he made, it was a tie game. And then they proceeded to get outscored 33-7 the rest of the quarter. And it was over. And they just like absolutely got swallowed up by the crowd. Those fucking assholes are singing like nah 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 hey 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 goodbye like it's 1994. They should feel so embarrassed. And I've said that if there's like a supercut of me saying they should feel embarrassed over the last 10 years of doing this fucking podcast, and I want more. I want a level of like give me the. I'm missing words here.
It's okay. That's my bit. Usually.
I want to know that they feel embarrassed. I want them to say like, he's right. We feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed. It's on me. Like, again, not watching the press conference and whatever they say, I'm just going to be upset at it no matter what. There's nothing they could say where I could go like, all right, cool, great. But like just a group of pathetic people that thought that they could bounce back and like go to war with each other. And like the war was lost very handily, very quickly, in very embarrassing fashion. Just got absolutely shown up. Congrats that Joel got the MVP. The fact that he won MVP makes him look even fucking dumber for how bad he played.
I agree. It makes us look dumb.
It's just so embarrassing across the board that they weren't getting anything. They didn't do anything. They did nothing. Harden was like sloppy with the ball, making horrible decisions. He passed to nobody at one point in the third quarter. That was disgusting. His handle was gross. He couldn't get by anybody. Yeah, I want to go down and like sort of criticize other guys, but it's not their fault. It's not the other guy's fault. I'll blame them for like other things in the past in the series, and I don't have anything good to say about anybody. But
like, it came down
Harden
to
and
this.
Embiid.
Yeah,
this is Harden and Embiid.
Yep.
Harden and Embiid, and I would not that this is like not that he earns more than like some nominal percentage that any coach would earn, but Doc also, like, you don't lose this many closeout games in your career without having a fundamental flaw, and a really horrendous reputation for never getting it done. Like, I would fire Doc tonight just to do something, because it's easier than the other stuff you have to do. And everybody, if you fire Nick Nurse and Mike Budenholzer and Monty Williams, like, Doc Rivers should definitely get fucking fired, get his ass out of here. And then you figure out what to do with the rest, or if you want to, I don't know, do they want to play basketball anymore? Do they want to sell the team? Does the organization want to stay in Philadelphia? Like, I think truly, like, a non-insignificant percentage of fans will leave after this performance and not come back. When the Flyers got swept by the Red Wings in, was it 97? I think it was 97. I never came back to hockey. I was 7 years old, but I never came back. It broke me. It was over. That was it for me. And I feel like there's going to be people that do it with the Sixers, because it's like, why would you Why would you? What have you earned? What level of respect have you earned from us?
On the list of things I expected you to say on this podcast,
Never came back.
when the Red Wings beat the Flyers, I never came back to hockey.
I never went back.
I was 7. It was not on the list.
Yeah.
Let's get our sponsors done right now. That way they're not surrounded by too much hate. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. Thank you, Adam Ksebe, for making Sixers Adam's trip to Boston possible. Our beat writer, Sixers Adam, who the Sixers have failed this year, but Sixers Adam has grown. Adam Ksebe is if you need a realtor, he's your first call, no matter what you are, no matter what you're doing. Specifically, Ksebe is your hookup to the Delaware beaches. Adam Ksebe and his team, based out of Long and Foster and Bethany Beach, Delaware beaches. If you've never been, if you've always been a Jersey Shore person, Delaware is where it's at, especially if you want to buy. Lower property taxes. And everything else is great, right? Great little towns, all different selections from Bethany, as I mentioned, Lewis, Rehoboth, all those places. They can find you a house at the Delaware beaches. They can find you a house anywhere in Delaware, anywhere in Maryland. And if you're looking for a realtor in not one of those states, call Adam first, because Adam will interview realtors and get you the right person. Text or call 302-864-8643, 302-864-8643, KSEBE. Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. And the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by LL Pavorsky Jewelers. Look, the good news is we got up to number 327 today. The bad news is the topic we cover is completely fucking awful. That's the bad news. The good news is LL, though. 327 Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners have gone to LL for engagement rings. 327 of them have been thrilled. A jeweler is one thing that it's hard to find. You go into jewelry stores, they pressure the shit out of you. You don't know what's going on. You go in there, spend a ton of money. You're nervous about the entire thing. You don't know if you can trust the person. LL is somebody you can trust. Been in business 35 years in the same spot, right over there, 77 Walnut. First advertiser ever on the Ricky. Been with us for 6 years, something like that. Known about us much longer than that. We love them. If you're getting an engagement ring, you cannot go anywhere else. 215-627-2252 is a number you call. Make an appointment. He doesn't want walk-ins. He wants to be able to spend time with you. 215-627-2252. Email Lee at llpavorsky.com. Tweet at him at llpavorsky. He is a supporter of our charities, Providence Animal Center, Mama T's Community Fridge, LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
He would never do this to you or anyone.
833 Lickface is the phone number. Voicemail.
Spike, Mike, CJ. If you told me that I'd be leaving my friend's house in a Game 7 do or die against the Boston Celtics in the third quarter, I'd tell you you're insane. But here I am, pulled over on the side of the road with my hazards on to call you guys. Just truly pathetic, and what we all should have expected. Harden just didn't even show up. Just taking his good old time down 15, then 20, then 25, turning it over, throwing it out of bounds. Embiid looked like shit from the beginning of the game, looked like he didn't care, and just trying to prove something and getting destroyed by 78-year-old ancient Al Horford. The role players stepped up in the first half and they couldn't keep it going. That's it. That's the season. Same as they've always been. So Sixers and 8. Just kidding. I might never watch them again. I'm going to, as Mike says, rip my fucking skin off.
You could hear the hazards clicking in the background. We talked for a lot about Embiid, and we did the all of them thing. I suppose this is for like the next podcast or whatever, when we talk about what they're going to do during the off season. But I am amazed that after the 2 games that James Harden had in this series, in which he single-handedly basically won the game. Game 1, where he had, 45, whatever the fuck it was. And then game 4, when he had 42. I am stunned that he could play bad enough in the other games to make me forget those performances. But as good, it's amazing to say that as good as those performances were, the bad performances were as bad as those performances were good. I have no idea if he. I would say if I only knew of this situation, he's ready to go to Houston. He doesn't want to be here. Doesn't even want to play another round. But this has happened to him over and over and over and over and over again, and it makes so much so that there's something mentally that does not allow him to engage in important games the way that he needs to engage in them. He was never in this game. Never. And it's happened to him over and over and over again. You can't have two losers leading the team. And if Joel's going to be a loser, like, you can't have Harden there too. I see no instance in which I could bring that guy back on this team. I don't imagine. Again, this is the thing for the next pod, but it's almost unbelievable that he could be this predictably bad in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he fucking sucked. He sucked for most of the series. He had 2 great games. But like, Joel has to carry him in some of those other games. Harden carried them in 2 games. Joel won them 0 games in this series.
That's for sure. That's a good point. That's
just embarrassing.
Point.
Yeah, I mean, it's both of them. They both they suck. They really truly embarrass themselves across the board. And if Harden wants to go act like he could do that for a season, or pretend like he could, which is a total fucking lie. There's not a chance in hell that he could do that for more than like once in a while when the step back is going in.
Right.
If he wants to go to Houston and win like 31 games, then God bless him. Whatever. I don't know that I want him here. I don't want anybody here. I want them to sell the team. I want them to trade Franklin. I want them to cancel CSN Philly. Like, they shouldn't be allowed to air on television anymore. Like, it's just a level of embarrassment that, like, I just can't wrap my head around. Like, Montrezl Harrell, who I've hated all year, at the beginning of the game, right before the game, grabs Embiid and starts whispering stuff in his ear, and I'm like, yes, pump him up, give me something, like, fire him up. And Embiid, like, they would have been better if Embiid didn't play in this game.
I wonder what is going through his fucking head. Like, what do you think it is? Honestly.
Horford just fucking owns him, man. It's so embarrassing that he owned him, and then the Sixers got him, and he played like shit the year he was here, and then we traded him. We banished him to Oklahoma City. He sits out a year. He goes to Boston, and now he owns Embiid again. And he's 1,000 years old. Embiid's got 7 inches and 85 pounds on him. Like, it's pathetic. It's absolutely 100% pathetic, and Embiid should feel embarrassed, and he should have to issue public apologies. It was just I'm so repulsed by the entire thing. Like, he reverted so bad. He wasn't getting contested rebounds. He wasn't getting out on Horford in the perimeter. Tatum was just like eating his lunch over and over again on the perimeter. And the thing that we say about Joel is, like, he can guard wherever when he has to. And I think he has been capable of being the best defender in the league, the most impactful defender in the league. And I came back from my honeymoon all hot about Giannis never covering Jimmy and Embiid in this game. And I said that would never happen with Embiid. And it happened with Tatum. Tatum just absolutely cooked his ass over and over again. And this game absolutely diminishes how I feel about Joel Embiid as a player in like general.
It has to.
100%. It wasn't like, oh, he just had a bad game, didn't show up, or he was in his head or whatever. Like, dude, you're not like 22.
He's 30.
Really, really disgusting stuff. He wasn't anticipating double teams. He turned the ball over and over again on when they were coming at his blind side. He looked out of sorts. He was on his heels. He allowed Horford to get in his space. He rarely, if ever, went downhill and used his size to impose himself against him. They didn't want Robert Williams on him because they were too worried about Embiid just like baiting him into fouls. And so he had like Tatum and Marcus Smart on him, and to not he went at him sometimes, but to not do it all the time. It's like, dude, you won MVP. He tried to post up too much to like prove something. I don't know. Or maybe he was just tired. Didn't have his legs on it. I don't fucking know. But he shot very, very few mid-range shots that he was automatic in all season.
And by the way, that were open. Every time he
shots.
faced up, that shot was there. There was a 12 to 15 footer there every single time. And he turned around and backed them down like it was 4 years ago.
And then he started like allowing Horford to come in and then Horford would get a hand up. And if you can have him backpedaling, then that's an open shot. You're so much bigger than he is. And he just allowed himself to get pushed around. And it's disgusting, man. Absolutely gross. Yeah, Harden sucked. He didn't hit a step back until the third quarter. He was 1 of 11 on threes the last 2 games. He was grifting and not getting rewarded for it, and sometimes he was getting rewarded for it more than he should have.
Well,
he was just bad. They're just both really, really bad. But the thing I'll say about Harden is, like, we knew who he was coming into the series,
right,
and still he won them 2 games. And we thought we knew who Embiid was, and we were waiting for him to show everybody that he was capable of doing more. And he showed them he actually isn't. He's actually worse. He's actually, there's like all sorts of buzzwords that get thrown around these kinds of things, but like he came up so short. I don't know if it was choking or I don't know if it was just in his head or whatever, but like he certainly fucking sucked. And you can't just fucking suck so often in big games like this. And he has. His prime is closer to the end than it is to the beginning. And there's just not going to be many more chances for him to do it. I don't know if it's going to happen in Philadelphia. I don't know if he's going to be on the Sixers next season. I don't know. There's no one I would look at and go like, that guy definitely deserves to be here. Nobody does. Something is fundamentally wrong with the entire ecosystem of this team. The anatomy of this team is like broken on some level to over and over again be out-toughed, out-physical, out-hustled. They're slow, they're old, they're weak, they're unathletic, like just over and over again. And then when shots stop falling against a decent team, they fucking limp to the finish line and beg to get fucking blasted. And they did, just like so quickly. That third quarter was the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my life.
I was so hoping when I was watching it, I was just like, somebody just decide, Embiid, I was just hoping, just decide that maybe you lose this game, but this run is over.
Just get to the fucking foul line.
Yeah,
get a layup, something. It was a 21-3 run or something? I wrote it down somewhere. Just truly despicable stuff. If they had kept the lead to like 16, if they had simply lost that quarter by 16, then we could go into the fourth quarter and go like, okay, that was horrendous. Let's bounce back. But they just dug themselves into such a hole because they have no integrity as a group, as individuals, all of them. They should feel so embarrassed. They should all issue like public statements on like official letterhead. I don't know why we're doing a podcast about this team. Now we look like fucking the dumbest people on the planet.
Yeah, well, it's happened.
And like no adjustments from Doc. I know that it's like Dan House comes in like down 28 and you're like, okay, here it is. Here's our big swing. Let's throw somebody out there. He goes with the same starting lineup in this game. It's like he loves gut feel. He loves to really like hammer like how much his gut was involved in his decision making when it goes well. And then afterwards, like his gut is surprisingly absent from the conversation.
Well, I don't think there was anything wrong with the starting lineup to the way that it worked itself out today.
Sure. No, they didn't lose the game at the beginning of the game for sure.
No.
But it's just like it's an unwillingness to try shit when the stakes are low. I've been saying it all fucking season long. It was the reason why he didn't play B-ball Paul in the regular season last year, because he's just like so scared of doing anything unique or different, or that it might something like just you got to be able to do something. The Celtics had the last couple games a 7-man rotation, and the Sixers look like the ones that were tired. And the Sixers just they are not as in good shape, is nearly as athletic or as in good shape as those guys. And they looked so fucking slow across the board everywhere.
833 lick face is the voicemail. The just to go back to your Harden thing, I think the most embarrassing moment was actually everybody was like mad that they called a flagrant on him when he hit Brown in the face. The thing that was embarrassing about that is he just threw the fucking ball out of bounds and then threw his hands in the air to try to get a foul call and ended up hitting the guy in the face. Like it was maybe it wasn't a flagrant, but it was an embarrassing moment for Harden.
Oh, it definitely embarrassing moment. But sometimes
Yeah.
you lose the ball going up. I mean, that was a joke of a call. Like refs have never seen basketball before. They're like trying to like rules their way into. It's just like such a disgusting display of like, yeah, that was a flagrant foul. Imagine telling someone in 1998 that was a flagrant foul. Obviously, it is not
You want the games to be
1/10
like
of
they were in
1%.
1998?
No, but like we could be human beings. That's obviously not a flagrant foul. It's
Nah,
basketball.
if you're a
It's
foul
physical
grifter,
sport.
if you're a
Sometimes
foul
someone gets hit in the
grifter, you
fucking
can go
face.
fuck yourself.
It's not
man.
a flagrant foul every time someone gets hit in the face.
All right.
It's just not. It's just like such. It's such a disgusting display of like trying to like write the rules of basketball on a piece of paper so you can go like when you're hit above the shoulder area, then it's like then it has to be a flagrant foul. It's just like what a pathetic though. It's an embarrassing like sport altogether that Adam Silver is running here. Like just a disgusting situation. Obviously not why they lost.
No.
Like 100%. Not
right.
blaming the refs, but just like so annoying all the time that they are as bad as they are at like deciding how to like officiate basketball.
Their jobs would be a lot easier if everyone wasn't fucking acting
Totally.
on every play.
Totally. And if they stopped calling that, then they would act less.
Well, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's a good point. 833-LickFace is the phone number.
I'm just done. I've fully reached apathy for this team. I don't know how I could possibly watch next year. I don't even know how I could listen to the podcast. I don't even know how you guys could do a podcast on anything about this team. I mean, that is embarrassing. Every year, this is just, I'm done with Embiid. I love him, but it's time for him to go. I mean, it's just embarrassing. Apathy, like really. That's trading Embiid is like the only thing that I'm going to be coming back for the season for. Like, otherwise, I don't believe in them at all. He never shows up.
Here is a quote from transcribed by our beat reporter, Sixers Adam, who was in Boston. This is Doc Rivers on James Harden. James has a decision to make this summer, and he'll make it. I think overall he enjoyed being here. It's tough for him. We asked him to play a little different than he's always been accustomed to. He's accustomed to the way he played today. I think it made us a better team, and unfortunately, I thought for James at times it wasn't best for him, and he still did it. So you appreciate that as a coach. Well, not getting himself in the same trouble as he did after the Atlanta series, I guess. Also from Doc Rivers, where is it? This loss absolutely diminishes what we did this year. So there's a moment of honesty. Glad that he said that. Yeah, I don't even know what to. I think everyone else on the team, their performance. Oh, you know what? Actually, there is one other player. What the fuck is George Niang doing?
Oh, that was embarrassing. He should have gotten ejected.
Yeah, absolutely should have ejected.
Yeah.
They just should have fucking cut him after he did that. Who the fuck
was
do you
absolutely
think
a
you
foul
are, man?
on Jalen grabbing Harden by the jersey collar on
Sure.
the way over there. It's a joke of a non-call. But yeah, Niang should get ejected. They got lucky on that play and by it just being a double technical. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like the role players, they did their thing. They did their best. You can't expect like all of those guys to do much. Nobody like won them the game or deserved to, but PJ maybe in the first half, but like everybody else was just like kind of doing fine and then missing shots. And then Embiid and Harden set the tone with how little they seemed to give a fuck about this game and how there was just such a lack of urgency across the board and just so soft. Like how are you fucking 7'2", 350 or whatever the fuck, and you're so soft? It can't happen, man. He has very limited touch around the rim. Obviously, his mid-range is exceptional, even though he didn't go to it tonight. He has very limited touch around the rim. He went up like fucking Ben Simmons on drive a couple times against Al Horford, who's a fucking corpse. It's embarrassing. It's a guy I fucking ride for 9 years. I love the dude. And he fucking embarrassed the shit out of himself tonight for not the first time. But it's like enough already. You can't hold back anymore. This is disgusting.
I was so excited too. I let myself really. There's a part of me every year because I didn't think the Sixers had a chance to win a championship. That is sort of relieved when the playoffs are over. it's a grind for me. I stay up late, but I know it sounds like I'm being a baby, but like there's a part of me that like gets to like exhale a little bit. I had really, after the first round and then specifically after game 5, allowed myself to believe, you know what? Let's go to the fucking finals this year. Like, let's do it. And not only let's do it, but wouldn't it be great to, in the first round, eliminate Ben Simmons' team? In the second round, eliminate the Celtics. In the third round, in the conference finals, play Jimmy Butler and get to eliminate Jimmy Butler. And then potentially in the finals, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about the fucking finals, about this team. Then in the finals, get to play Jokic, and Embiid could dominate that series, and Embiid beats Jokic, maybe win the championship. I actually allowed it to creep into my brain, even after the game 6 loss. Last couple of days, I'm really talking myself into this game. I'm looking at the line on DraftKings, drops from 7 points to 5.5, 5.5 right before the game. The Sharps are in on the Sixers. There it is. Boy, like Nikola Jokic is over there in Denver, just fucking dominating the shit out of everybody he plays.
Yeah.
In the conference finals.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like a fucking moron, thinking that we're going to eliminate every single one of our haters in one playoff run. And in the same team that I wanted to happen, Joel Embiid comes in and doesn't even want to play in game 7. Doesn't even want to play.
Or 6. He looked like shit in game 6 too.
Yeah.
Obviously worse in 7, but
much worse in 7.
But bad in 6 too. Yeah, I mean, it's just they won game 5. It was a team win in game 5. They all played well. And then they do what they always fucking do, man, is they took their foot off their gas because they just don't have it. They just don't have the level of intensity that is required at like high levels of basketball. And the Sixers haven't been playing high level basketball this entire era. They came very close to it, and they never at any point decided as a team, as any number of units over the last 6 years of playoff basketball. They never decided like, okay, we're just going to win this fucking game. They didn't do it because they're losers. All of them, top to bottom. They should wear this for the rest of their careers.
Do you think you could get it get it back? Like believe that even with the failure, that this is like that he is salvageable.
You mean Joel?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, I'm capable of doing some truly stupid shit. So in a year, if things are different, kind of,
right.
And they're going into like a game 7 against fucking whoever.
Yep.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, probably. It's fucking a disease. This is repulsive. But like in the cold light of day, after without like the idea of hope and like,
yeah, you know,
the soaring orchestral music of a narrative win, possibility. No, he's not the guy. We thought he was the guy. We wanted him to be the guy, but he's not. He's just not. Like, and I'm look. I obviously love Kate Scott as a human being. Loved her on the Ricky.
Yep.
But was it after game 5 or the morning of game 6? Something.
Well, she can't be like we are.
No, but she doesn't have to post the like, this team is different and get all your negativity out. That's some like, Kate, I love you. That's some Northern California bullshit. And I didn't want to hear it then. And I definitely like don't ever want to hear it again.
You gotta
like,
give Kate a break.
No, of course. I love Kate.
She's
and
like
she just was being optimistic and she basically works for the team and all that stuff. But like it was like telling us how to be when she like hasn't been here long enough to do it. And I was like, if you you had to have died through the several playoffs to be optimistic and tell people that aren't optimistic, like you should be. Because this team was like there was like the smallest, faintest idea of, hey, they're different this year. Things are different. They bounced back.
There was plenty of evidence.
Not that much evidence.
Yes,
a little bit of evidence. A little bit of evidence that they were different. But that evidence, as we know, like That's like a random shot bouncing in here and there. That's Kevin Durant's toe being on the 3-point line and like it being like it's shifting an entire narrative, like one little thing. And I never fully believed that they were different because they're too slow, they're too old, they're too unathletic. They don't have enough like grab the fucking ball. PJ a little bit, Melton a little bit sometimes, but like really I never sunk my teeth into believing that they were any different. I was hoping that Joel would do it, but like, man, fuck them all.
Man, poor Kate Scott catching strays for
Look,
being
don't be like, don't come out with optimism if you're not going to own it after they lay the biggest egg of all time. She owns it. She should own it. She should be like, I was wrong. You were right to be negative. She should say that. I love her. She should say like, I was misinformed. I've been here for a few years and I thought the team was different and I was wrong. And I thought they were better than that and I was wrong and they were horrendous. So I apologize for telling you to be optimistic when I shouldn't have. Love Kate. Love Kate. Think she's a great announcer. Think she's great for the city. But like she needs to know that this franchise is poison. And we've all
Kate
been
run
poisoned by it.
Kate run.
No, she's in. It's too late. She's here.
Yeah.
She just has to like allow the poison to like get further into her bloodstream to where she's not trying to give me like Santa Cruz fucking optimism. I don't need it.
Well, I mean, candidly, anyone that's appeared on a live Ricky is fucking gone anyway. Mike Scott's gone. Dario's gone. Brett Brown's gone. TJ McConnell's gone. I'm sorry, Kate. This is a bad sign. Is anybody still here?
Elton's still there.
Elton's still here. Well, somebody tweeted me earlier this week after Game 6, and I thought he was kidding. He was not kidding. And he was like, well, what if the process is just the friends we made along the way? And I was like, well, you're kidding. But, you know, I enjoy being around everyone every year. So I will say this as we end this, and we will pivot into our, I guess, Sixers Adam. But by the way, he's tweeting. I wanted to get him on, but he's staying for all the press conference. So I don't know when that will happen. You know, I appreciate everyone who has decided to listen to the podcast all year and stuck with us. This wraps up season 10. So our 10-year anniversary is in July. And as awful as the team is, I find great value and satisfaction and happiness in the fact that everybody has gone through this together. And I think it is a one-of-a-kind thing. And I'm thankful for everyone. So thankful to everyone who listened. Thankful to our great staff of lunatics, CJ and Mike O'Connor, and Sixers Adam and Alonzo and Abby and Tanner, who draws everything, and for our t-shirts and shit. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate everyone being around.
Disagree.
Well,
you're all fucking stupid, and I'm the dumbest of all of us.
Okay, one more. How about this one? 833 lick face.
This is Jacob. Joel Embiid cannot he has to score 100 times, 100% of the time when Marcus Smart is guarding him. It's just fucking ridiculous. Honestly, I'm not even that upset that they're losing because they literally lose the playoffs the same way every fucking year. So looking forward to the off-season pods. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Well,
yeah,
happy Mother's Day, everyone.
I'm just happy to not have to watch them. I'm happy
Yeah.
not have to like watch them and deal with the fucking agita I get from dealing with it on like the build up to a game, having to like arrange my schedule around this fucking dumb fuck organization. Should have to like issue like a real apology. And by the way, like massive loser shit, someone leaking to Woj that like actually the refs gave worse calls to the Celtics, the Sixers and the Celtics in Game 6, like an hour before the game. Like, get the fuck, go win a goddamn basketball game. Stop fucking leaking shit.
Well, you know who that has to come from.
Who do you think it came from?
I mean, that has to come from Daryl.
You think Daryl?
It has to be.
It could be
I mean,
Daryl. I could be Harden's like person. I don't know.
yeah.
He was.
But Harden's person, I bet, is not getting that. That's got to be Daryl.
Probably. It's losership. It's
Yeah.
massive. It's massive losership.
I agree
And
with
at
you.
what point? How many times does Daryl have to like lose big games on the guys that he's like committed himself to? He's fucking tied himself to James Harden like a tree about to get demolished, and it's just like public embarrassment. Everybody should be so embarrassed that this game was televised, that they didn't like cut the power midway through the third quarter. Disgusting. What a disgusting organization. They should have to change the name of the Sixers. They should have to change the logo, like, to bounce back from something like this.
Anything in particular you think would be a good option to change it to?
Yeah, like a middle finger, like going up your own asshole. Like, like fuck you, like fuck everybody, fuck them all.
Can you imagine the unveiling of them?
Repulsive.
Yeah.
Just like totally repulsive. Fuck everybody that's ever been associated with this team. Fuck us, obviously. Fuck all the players. Fuck everybody. Fuck all the fucking management, coaching staff, scouting department, video room, medical staff.
Franklin again.
Franklin, absolutely Franklin. Broadcast team, camera guys, everybody.
Arena staff?
Nah, they're all right.
Okay.
I don't
all
blame
right.
them.
Okay.
Just a fucking disgusting display. They should throw the bell out. They shouldn't do the bell before games anymore.
They should, instead of the bell, you should walk out and stick your own middle finger up your ass.
Yeah, that's what they should have to do before a big game. Just such a disgusting.
Alex Subers.
Everybody.
Okay.
All
Christian Crosby.
change the name, change the area, go by the fucking like King of Prussia Sixers now. Like, you should have to leave Philadelphia. I hate this team. I hate them all.
Happy Mother's Day
Yeah.
to all the moms out there. I don't even want to ring the bell anymore.
No, we decline.
I'd be embarrassed.
I will break the bell. I will take the bell and I will bash it on the ground. Ask me to ring the fucking bell.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, we'll talk to you next time.
No. Never again. You'll never hear from me again.
Say hello to your wife and your mother-in-law from us, Mike. All right. I don't even know. I can't believe he no-showed like that. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I can't think of another player. I mean, so everyone laughs at you know, there was a Knick fan when I grew up. I remember there was a playoff game where I think Patrick Ewing scored 1 point. I remember that game. That one was really bad. I'm just trying to think of legendarily bad performances from superstars in situations like this.
It's just going to be like an antagonistic relationship for as long as he's here. And maybe that's only a couple months. Or
No,
maybe
he ain't going.
another
They're
couple
not
years.
trading him. I don't think so.
I think everything is and should be on the table for how long they fucking ran into this brick wall of their own stupidity. Like, and something's got to give. They can't just keep fucking running it back with like slow ass Embiid and like slow decision makers and slow limited athleticism, limited players, so many fucking limited players, so limited. They can do like one thing. It's basketball. It's not like I only play like a little bit of defense on these kinds of guys. Like, play basketball, be basketball players. And they just are too many guys that are too limited at so many stuff. You're constantly, it's like whack-a-mole with how many weaknesses they have to make up for all the time. And then game 7, you managed to like trick your way into getting game 7 against a pretty good Celtics team that was very beatable. And then your 2 best players don't fucking show up. Pathetic.
All right,
they shouldn't show their face all off season. They should like go into hibernation. They should leave the country. just like live in Mexico for the offseason. Get dual citizenship because like they shouldn't be allowed back in Philadelphia. Pathetic. All right. Yeah, Lickface.
All right. Goodbye.